began in September last year, right after the so-called global economic crisis brought about by the breakdown in the credit sector of the United States, particularly the Lehman Brothers. I delivered a privileged speech in Congress. I was the first one to deliver a privileged speech warning already about the economic downturn that was going to happen in the world. And, well, as I predicted in consultation with the economists of the country, really bad things turned out as far as the United States was concerned, Japan, and other major Western countries, and other people were warning about the repercussions here in the Philippines. There were some economists who were saying that, ang sabi kasi nila parati, pag humatsing daw ang pag nag-sneeze ang mga Amerikano, ang Amerika, nagkakaroon tayo ng pneumonia dito sa Pilipinas. And they're saying that if America, the American economy would be affected adversely, then we would be more seriously affected. But it's very lucky that it did not happen that way. You know, the downturn that a lot of pessimistic economists were saying did not happen. You know, yesterday, I had a conversation with an economist, a very respected economist in the Philippines, who happens to be a former NEDA Director General. He gave me a briefing of sorts on the economy of the Philippines and why our economy did not crash. In fact, if you look at the economies of the Western countries, their GDP contracted. Ibig sabihin, lumiit ang kanilang GDP, the gross domestic product. If you compare their 2009 projected GDP, it is lower than their 2008 GDP. Bumaba ang kanilang gross domestic product. And they do not expect to recover in 2010. And recovery is going to be expected only in 2011. Pero ang nakagulat, ang Pilipinas hindi ganun. Bumagsak ang Singapore economy, bumagsak ang Malaysian economy, pero ang Pilipinas hindi nag-crash. So I asked him, Mr. Former Secretary of NEDA, how come our economy did not crash? Ang sagot ng NEDA Director General, the former NEDA Director General, Mr. Congressman, the reason why the Philippine economy did not crash is because the Philippine economy did not take off. Hindi raw nag-take off, kaya paano naman magka-crash? Ang isang bagay na hindi nag-take off. But you know, of course, I would dispute that. He was just being funny about it, and I think he was speaking as a former NEDA Director General during the Estrada administration, and we all know that the Estrada administration was prematurely terminated by the entry of the Gloria Macapagal administration. Kaya siguro may kunti siyang resentment about what happened. Kaya hindi sabi niya, hindi raw nag-take off ang Philippine economy. But actually the reason why our economy did not crash were two things from my own observation. Our economy is stable because of two factors. Number one is, I think as you all know, the OFW remittances. A lot of people were also anticipating that the remittances are going to go down because people were saying that we are going to lose hundreds of thousands of jobs because of the decline in the economies of the Western world. But this did not happen. We lost maybe a few thousand, maybe 5,000, 6,000 jobs in the electronic sector in Taiwan. But in the other countries, hindi ganun eh. Tumaas pa. You know, Canada is even asking for more, Bahrain is asking for more, New Zealand, Australia, these countries are asking for more Filipino overseas workers. Kaya yung nawala sa Taiwan, na-recover din natin sa ibang sektor. And probably the reason for that is that because of the downturn in the economy, they have to look for OFWs who can provide the same quality of labor, the same quality of work at a much lower rate. So that became, and tama din sinabi ng NEDA Director General, that what became a curse in other countries became a blessing for the Philippines. Kaya tumaas ang remittances natin, tumaas na mga 1-2% instead of declining, And we are expecting that the remittances for 2009 is still going to be higher than the remittances for 2008, and that is going to be a good factor, a good news, especially for the real estate sector and the consumer sector, and I think for all of us. But the other plus factor that is helping us is the BPO sector, the business process outsourcing sector. You know, the first time I monitored the BPO sector, it was challenging India, but still a long way away from India. At that time, we were talking of maybe about 150,000, 200,000 BPO employees in the Philippines. But I was amazed at the recent briefing that I got, that today, the amount of the BPO sector is to the tune of about $6.1 billion. It is almost, it's only a very new industry, but it is almost overtaking the tourism sector that after years and years of promotion is only about a level of about $7 billion. And the number of employees in the BPO sector is already reputed to be about 600,000 already, and increasing at the unbelievable rate of about 30-40%. I don't know whether this can be sustained in the next coming years, but even if it tapers off to maybe about 20-25% per year, that's still going to be enormous. And mind you, the leader in the BPO sector right now has a share of the BPO world sector, world industry, of about 35%. But the Philippines is trailing. We are number 3, number 2 is Canada, but we are not that far away. We are about 17%, we have 17% share of the world's BPO sector. Kaya napakagandang balita and increasing at the rate of 30-40%. Maybe if we increase by 20-25%, that's still good news for everybody here. For all you know, your children are going to end up in the BPO sector. They'll be making a lot of money without having to go abroad. They might end up providing CPA services, engineering services, design services, animation services, even medical services, commanding rates that are comparable in the international market without having to go abroad. And here, I'm very, very bullish about the BPO sector, and also, of course, about the OFW sector. Now, let me talk about politics also, because I'm very sure that a lot of you are interested to know what is going to happen in 2010. Merong nagtatanong sa akin, Congressman, sino kaya ang mananalo na presidente sa